Hello and welcome. My name is Tom Shima, and I'm so happy you're here to join me today. Pull up a chair, grab your favorite snack, and let's get into having a little bit of fun with some games today. For anybody who's here for the Persona a Day playthrough of Persona 3 Reload, know that I have not forgotten about the game, but if you'll remember this past Thursday, our character had a lot of exertion that night, and, well, let's just say he's recovering a bit right now, and he's still in the process of recovering. So there won't be any Persona today. As we get closer, I will let you know, though, so you don't miss a beat on that. And if you want to get caught up on the series, I have uploaded the first 4 days of playthroughs to my YouTube channel, which is linked in my profile. So if you want to check that out and you refresh yourself on that, I would welcome it. Feel free. So I wanted to try to do something a little bit different today, which is easy to do when I haven't really done a whole lot of content yet. Everything is different from the one thing I've done before. I partially wanted to do a stream just as practice for myself. You can obviously hear I'm still kind of learning the ropes for this, getting used to the whole process, and I think I'm making strides there, but every step forward is going to help everybody in this process, so I'm going to try to keep taking those steps. And I kind of wanted to just take it easy and do something that I've played before a little bit. You've seen the title, you know where we're going with this, but I wanted something that was, a casual, low-stakes game where I can also kind of chat a bit more about this channel, about myself, since I haven't really given you guys a whole lot of background on any of that yet. So I figured, it was the Masters this weekend, everybody's got golf on the brain. Let's go with a classic and play some NES golf. So I always knew it as Mario Golf, I think it's just known as golf. It's got a lot of monikers, but it's a classic. It's a game I've played a lot in the past. I haven't played in a while, so keep that in mind. I'm very much not a pro at this. So we'll end up out of bounds, we'll end up in the water. We're not going to set any course records by any stretch, but I hope we can have some fun along the process here. And yeah, let's get right into it. Let's actually start from the beginning here too. Okay. This is golf for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Pretty simple on the surface. We've got a selection of clubs all the way down to sand wedge and putter, back to our one wood here. Some things to keep track of. It's our first hole, 357 meters it looks like. It's a par 4. Got a nice 12 mile an hour crosswind. That'll move the ball a bit for us. But yeah, let's get right into it. Let's hope I can keep it on the fairway to start the game. I'll take that. And it doesn't give us the remaining distance for the shot, so we're going to kind of have to know our clubs here, which was going to work against me since I don't remember exact distances on these. I'm torn between a 4 or a 5 on this shot. I don't want to put it long, but short's really no better in golf. Oh, well. Well, let's try the 4, see what happens. Alright, we're in the sand, great. But I will take that instead of an out of bounds. That's why we have a sand wedge with us. We don't need a lot on this, though, since we don't have a lot of distance to the hole here. But I've also found you're too little and you don't really go anywhere since we're in the sand, so happy medium here. Hope I don't chip it over the green. Super. Okay. So that's what happens when you don't hit it hard enough out of the sand. You need a bit more on it than that, obviously. Okay. At least we made it close to the pin here. All things considered for my first hole, I'll take a bogey. Yeah. That definitely could have gone worse. Okay, look, a lot less wind here. That's, more in our favor as long as we can avoid the water. I don't want to hit the sand either, but if I'm going to hit one, I'd rather hit the sand. Well, let's just see what happens. Oh, okay. Just what I was hoping we'd see. This is kind of that tough angle to aim the shot. It's like I'm between these two directions. Luckily, you can kind of control that based on where you strike on the power meter down there for my shot shaping. If I hit it before the sweet spot, it's going to kind of fade off to the right, and if I hit it after, it'll come back towards the left a bit. How much depends on how far away from that sweet spot I hit it. What did we hit last time? About a 4 iron that was a bit too far. We're hitting it a little further this time, it feels like, though. No, I second-guessed it last time. Well, let's stick with the 4. And that's going to push it just a little bit with the wind, but we do kind of want to have it come a bit more to our left, so... Our right, so we're going to hit it a little bit more to the left on the bar there. Let's see if what I'm thinking in my head makes sense in practice. Well, it's the sand again, but it's not out of bounds, it's not in the water. We're going to break out that sand wedge, and we're not going to be overly weak like we were last time. Hopefully we'll put it on the green here. Oh! Or we'll just do that. I should do that every time. That's a lot easier. Okay, and I said we were going to chat a bit more about the channel and my VTuber and everything like that, so... we're on the third hole. Let's kind of get into a little bit of that. You've seen my setup, the pre-stream, the post-stream. My default background is an 80s and 90s basement setting. Maybe a little cliche, maybe a little on the nose, but it kind of symbolizes the place that I want this channel to feel like. I want it to be that comfortable place of nostalgia. I've always kind of envisioned my world being a world, like I just said there. And I kind of feel like this place is a plane of existence, if you will, not to get weirdly metaphysical on it, but it's that place where imagination lives, where you look back on, those comfortable times of the past, what used to be. It was also, it's that three-pronged past, present, and future idea. This was when I look back, this was the past, but in the time, this was where I was. This was, this was my present, and there were these, comfy times where, I just wanted to relax and unwind. Those things I looked forward to in my future of just being able to set up and be comfortable. That was the future side of it. So this kind of encapsulates that entire premise of past, present, and future in a comfortable place where we can game. I want to do older games. I want to do some newer games. So I think that also kind of fits that timeless vibe. I guess I can keep golfing as we talk here. Ooh. Kind of wish I had the instruction book here, because I remember there was a table that had the distances for all these different clubs here. One is going to be too much, I think, but I think the irons are going to be too little. And we've got the wind in our face. I'm going to go with a 3 and just hope it's not too much. Okay, at this rate, I think we're going to find every bunker in the game, or at least one a hole, hopefully not more than one. We're getting good at our sand wedge, though. We got wind, we got sand, we've got distance. I don't think we want to hold back too much on this one. Very good, we didn't. Now we've got the kind of putt that I'm sure I would have made as a kid, but having not done this for years, I feel a lot less confident. You can see the arrows on the green here denote which way the green is going to break. So in our case, it's going to break from left to right. We've got some distance. We've got some break. If I could put this in 2, I'll be happy. I don't want to hit it too light, but I don't want to shoot it off the green either. So I guess that's golf, isn't it? Okay. Nice. No wind here. We just have to get it over the trees, ideally into that opening there. So we can't leave it short as the trees narrow the fairway quite a bit there. And any draw or fade is going to work against us, so we just need to really focus on hitting it straight and true. Man, I could not ask for better than that. It's my approach shots that have been lacking this entire playthrough so far, though. I'm just going to stick with not second-guessing myself. And I almost changed my mind anyway, but I stopped on 7. Let's go 7. Well, we're not in the sand. Okay. And now you'd think I could get like a pitching wedge or a sand wedge here and run it up, but I remember one of those tricks from the past, and a putter is actually a much more versatile club in NES golf here than it feels like it is in real life. So if we put a little bit on that, I think that should put us decently close to things. Well, I think I got closer than I would if I'd putted, or if I'd, not putted the ball. We don't have a huge distance and not a fast break, but enough of a break. Ah. Yeah, that's what you don't want to do when you putt. Now we've got a significantly harder putt. Look at that. That's what putting uphill does to you. Okay. Well, we've got that hole behind us now. We don't need to worry anymore about that one. We've got a nice lake on this hole here, so we're going to want to definitely not let the ball go to our right. So we're going to want to try to kind of... I can never keep, drawing fades, which is which. I think we want to... I think it's a draw if it's closer to us and a fade if it goes away from us. But either way, we want to have it more to the left of our shot here. So to do that, we're going to hit it a little beyond the sweet spot there to kind of shape it that way. Or at least that's how I see it in my brain. But not so far that it hooks off into the trees either. Here we go. I feel good about that. Now, there's this part of me that's like, I don't even think the one would make it on the green from this distance, but it's also a much less forgiving club in terms of how much my shot will vary if I don't hit it, just perfect. So I think for safety's sake, I'm going to, change off to the 3 wood here and give myself a little bit of safety. I'm hoping to be on in 2 anyway, so let's not take any extra risks. Ooh, okay. This looks like prime pitching wedge distance. And I guess if something goes wrong, we do have that bunker on the far side of the green to catch us. Not that we're hoping for it, but it's there. Oh, halfway through maybe? That was too much. That was too much. We're going to be pros out of the sand by the end of this. All right. I like that for for what it was. Get a nice deafening par shot there with that phone tone of a beep. Again, we're going to be on in 2 here. We've got that slight 4-mile-an-hour breeze. I'm going to play what I feel is the safer shot on the straight-on island here. And I definitely don't want to overhit it into the water there. So 4 wood it is. That should put us on the island, hopefully. Perfect. And we're going to aim a little conservatively again. I'm not sure I'm aggressive enough to shoot for the green here, but I don't want to put it over the green. What's the... No second guessing it. Oh, okay. We're not on the green yet, but we may as well be. So, as we learned last time, it's going to take a mighty wallop off the green to get it onto the green. So we'll just... Yeah, even that... Okay, we got a much stronger break downward here. So we're going to have to account for that a bit more. And definitely better to leave it short than to overhit it here. Right around the edge. So yeah, just like last hole, it's a much harder literal uphill fight now, so we're going to need to really put a bit more on it. Well, I don't think I could get closer. This nice tough river location. Counterintuitively, it looks like I'm heading towards the river here, but in my head, the way I'm drawing this up is I kind of want the ball to to draw from right to left a bit and thread that needle between river and trees off there. So I'm going to want to hit it a little beyond the sweet spot. I'm going to try to get as much distance as I can without hitting the water, but not so much of a break that I'm out of bounds. But we didn't make it. Aside from the stroke penalty, at least our drop is right along the water side there. So we just need to really make up for it here on our final approach shot. Or what I'd love to be our final approach shot. Maybe by the end of this course, I'll start to learn how far each of my clubs will hit. Yeah, we're not in a hazard right now. Almost forgot to change my club off to a putter here. Looks close. I'll take that. And another bogey. I loved this hole. This was a classic, trying to hit that little opening in the middle of the trees there. You could try to play around it. It's definitely the safer shot, but if you don't overhit the ball and if you can just land it right in there, that makes a much greater potential for a nice second shot. I remember it was between a 3 or a 4. We've got no wind to contend with. I think the odds of rolling it forward into the trees are greater than underhitting it into the trees, so I'm going to club down to the 4 wood here and just play it safe. Probably would have been okay on the 3, but we're not in the trees yet. This looks, distance-wise, about like what we just hit. And again, we're going to want to break it this time off to the right a little bit. So let's try it. Why not? What are we out? Well, sure looked like a bunker shot, but I believe it says we missed the bunker. Despite that, I think a sand wedge still might be, distance-wise, our best club of choice. I don't want to underhit it, but I didn't really want to do that either. Well, we turned what could have been a birdie into a par, but we didn't make it worse. Oh, this hole. I have a story on this hole. Back in the day, my brother and I, we used to play this game quite a lot, and I remember one time we got to this hole, and if I remember right, I don't think there's a stroke limit per hole, and we tried to see what would happen. Could someone putt the ball all the way down that little channel? And, putt after putt after putt, trying to just, never get an iron or a driver out there, just putt the ball all the way down and get it into the hole. And I think we did it. I mean, I might be misremembering things, but I feel like we were somewhere in the 60s for our shots on this hole. And, lots of water hazards trying to make the angles around those turns. Man, that's when I was like, as soon as I see this hole, it's like, I'm right there in that memory. I suppose that's neither here nor there today, but there's that story time for you. All right, we've got the wind in our back here, 7 miles an hour, so it's going to add a bit to us. 226 yards. It's either a 4 wood or a 1 iron, I'm thinking. And we're going to want to bend it just a little bit to the right so we don't hit those trees. Yeah, ball goes left, shot goes right. I'll do it the whole time. Yeah, you'll figure it out. You're ahead of me in that. 1 iron, sure. The 4 might have been better, but I think we learned our lesson last time too, and that putting might be the safer approach from these distances. We're going to put some muscle on it, and we'll birdie it from the fairway. All right, so that was our front 9. Let's kind of, circle back into what I was talking about. So yes, I've got this basement design. I've got this nostalgic vibe. I've got this past, present, future world I'm trying to set up. And like I say, this is a place, a plane, call it what you will, that everyone has access to. If you close your eyes and just think about where you want to be, where do you see yourself? Is it a place from childhood? Is it a place you've never been? Is it a movie set? I mean, there are no wrong answers here. It's the place you see yourself. How many? We're golfing. This kind of fits my story. How many of you have seen the movie Happy Gilmore? Do you remember when Chubbs was teaching Happy how to putt? We're not spoiling anything here, but they went to the putting range and he kind of tried to get Happy to see the psychology side of things and to calm down, to get out of his own head and to think about his own happy place. It's just a place that is everything that made him happy, that was positive. Grandma was there and everything was great there. That's kind of what I envision this place is like for all of us. This is the place that you think of that is just your happy place. It's where you would be if you could be anywhere and there was no pressure. You could just be and do anything. It's comfortable. It's calm. It's everything you've always wanted it to be. It's the place you close your eyes and that's where you would be. That's kind of what I want this world to feel like. And it's going to look different for everybody. And so I'm just going to show you what my version of that world looks like. And, here's a challenge. If anybody else wants to share how their version of their world, their plane, their nexus, their happy world, whatever you want to call it, what it looks like, feel free to share it. I would love to see what your happy world looks like, what your perfect place is. All right, intermission aside, let's get back to golf here. This looks like a pretty straightforward hole. No wind, nice wide fairway. So I guess it's all on me to make the most of it or not. Let's just try to hit it straight and see where we can go. Oof, well, we flirted with those trees pretty close, but we stayed in fair territory. Now the bane of my game, the approach. I stopped on 5. Let's trust that subconscious to know what it was doing. Well, it had good intentions, I guess. Another tough approach here. All right. That lines us up for a nice straight putt towards the hole, right? Yeah. There's not a lot of words for that putt, are there? Okay, Happy. Nice and easy. Wow. Well, if we didn't have bad holes, the good holes wouldn't feel as good, would they? We got some wind. We got a short par 3. We got a lot of water. Got a lot of potential here. Let's see. If anything, I kind of want to counter that wind with my shot shape. I will definitely take that. And a birdie, okay. Lots of wind straight at us, nice narrow fairway. Gotta be really precise here. Part of me considers clubbing down to a 3 and giving me a bit more wiggle room, but we really do need the distance here. That's a mighty second shot if you don't put it forward far enough. But there's also that risk. If you put it out of bounds, you drop the ball right back where you started in this game, I believe. I guess if I'm going to be wrong, I want to be wrong hedging it, moving slightly to our left instead of our right. So just try not to hit before the flashing mark, and I'm golden. And it's really good we avoided that sand trap because there's not a lot you can do from there. It doesn't make this second shot very easy, though. No. I'm torn between clubs again. We got that cross breeze, so we're going to go up a club. And we want the ball to go to our left. Well, let's just kind of counteract some of that southern 14. Get down. Oh, good. Okay. It can be really close on where that out of bounds actually is. And I'm just thinking putting right from here, giving it a mighty wallop and seeing where it puts it. I've chipped it over the green a few too many times today. All right. The putter is my approach shot now. Hopefully these shots aren't that deafening. I mean, I can kind of hear it in my headphones here, and hopefully I've tuned it a bit better for you guys, but if not, I'm still learning. I'll play that excuse as long as it makes sense to have it. I don't want to lean into it as like, oh, I can do whatever I want because I don't know what I'm doing, but if you can cut me some slack, I would really appreciate it. Another tougher shot. We got that 5-mile-an-hour wind. We definitely want the ball to move off to our right a bit more. This is in every way a par 5. Alas, I got greedy. But you don't throw good money after bad, so I'm not going to try to run it up to the green from here. We got that wind behind us. Yeah, I don't need to say it. You know what happened there. Seven was too much. Let's try 9. 9 was a much better choice. Was this our 8th shot on a par 5? Not great. But all things considered, we made it through the hole, so you take what you get. Par 3, 159, 7-mile-an-hour wind. Kind of blowing across. I'm feeling 3 irons, the magic club today. No sand, no trees. A win in my book. Now our favorite approach shot, the putter. Looks close. Is close. All right, not a lot to aim for here. We got the wind, we've got the water. And if the wind were with me, I'd try to clear all the way to that big island straight ahead here, but I don't see that being overly likely. The island off this way is too far off. Even with a great shot, I don't see myself ending up there, so I think we've really just got to lay up and play it safe. Now, I really don't want to underhit it here, but anywhere in the water is kind of equally bad at this point. We need to make sure that the ball tails off to our left. Again, not so much to hit the trees, but stay out of the water. I am torn between that 4 and that 5. If 4 didn't feel good, 5 must be better, right? Okay. Now we've got a reasonably straightish shot. I mean, we do have the bunker back there to catch us if it comes to that. I'd hope it doesn't, but we've got that cross breeze. We've got kind of a dubious angle. I want to hit it as close to true as I can and let the wind sort it out. And I don't want to leave it short. I'm not leaving it short. Well, it wasn't short. But we dropped our ball there. It's a nice straight look at the pin. +1, okay. Hard to believe we're on the 16th already, isn't it? We have lots of wind. We have lots of water. This is a 16th hole if ever there was one, right? Let's just hit it hard. The wind is going to counter a lot of our distance. We don't want to go too far in either direction. I mean, maybe we want to shade it just a little bit off to our right, but too much of that's just going to hook us into the water, and that's really not what we want, obviously. Dry land. This could be the game I revisit a few times and see if I've learned something, hopefully. It's like, is this 3 iron distance? Is that wrong? If we leave it short, we're in the water. If we leave it long, we're out of bounds. I guess based on that, the water is our better shot, because if we can get to the far side of the water, well, it's not going to drop us on the far side of the water. I mean, probably not anyway. It's not going to drop us closer to the pin, but out of bounds sets us back here, so we really, really don't want that. It's going to be an 11 mile an hour blowing across our shot now, so we're going to want to counter that with our shaping. So we want the ball to go more to our left, so we hit it more to our right. Yeah, see, it put us on the side of the water. That's the right call. I mean, it looked to me like we were across it, but I'm the golfer, not the judge. I worry that our pitching wedge is going to put us off into the trees. In real golf, when you've got this, high-angled sand wedge, we're going to hit a lot more of the wind. I'm not sure if that's simulated back in the day here, but we don't want to leave it short, so we're going to... Okay. I don't think I can ask for nicer on that approach. You've seen how I played today. In on a bogey. Okay, well, I've talked briefly on, what my world is, kind of some of my views on what the channel could be. I also want to talk a bit about my approach to games and what I plan to play. I mean, we're doing something totally different today, like I said, like you've seen. We're not playing Persona today, and we're not playing a JRPG at all, actually. And that's kind of what I want to look at with games. I mean, Persona a Day is kind of, this project I've been thinking about for years, literally now, wanting to do. It was kind of my motivation to get the channel up and running when I did. I mean, when it's tied to a calendar, you can't really miss that window. But that said, I don't want to just be that Persona guy. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, Persona's a great series. I love it very much, but I want this to be kind of a variety gaming channel, because there's a lot of games I love that are totally different from each other, and I know there's a broad audience out there that loves a lot of different kind of games, so if I'm playing a few different things throughout the days and months and weeks, not in that order, there's hopefully bound to be something for everybody. I want to share some old games that, are classics, maybe in the cultural sense, but certainly in my own mind. Games that I grew up with that I loved. Games that you grew up with that you loved, hopefully. But also games that might not see as much light of day anymore because they're not the current new game and they're not the masterpiece iconic title. I don't even want to commit to anything yet. I want to kind of make it a surprise as we get there. But the other side of things is I want to see myself, as a gamer, for better or worse. And there are a lot of games, a lot of cultural milestone games that, define the genre that I've either played very little of or not at all, that kind of feels almost like a sin that, you've never played that title or you've never played this title and you call yourself a gamer. So this, I feel like, is also a unique opportunity going forward for me to take some of those old gems of games that defined a field and get to see them for the first time from a 2026 or later presence, for better or worse. It's kind of like, reading an old book in school or something. Does it hold up today? Does it really matter if it's such a classic? I mean, there are these old games that it almost feels like a rite of passage that people played growing up that I never did for one reason or another. And it's always kind of fun to see somebody play a game that you're fond of that they, the player, are not familiar with, because you can see if they make the same mistakes and pitfalls you did, or a dramatic big thing is coming and they're not going to know it's there. And so long as nothing gets spoiled, I mean, that's always a huge thing on mine. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, and I kind of I pray, I ask that people can respect that same mentality in kind and let me react authentically to things for everybody's sake. But yeah, I want to play some old titles, some classic titles, some newer titles, some things I've never played before that just will make me a more well-rounded gamer and will hopefully make some fun content for people to be able to watch. So, tangent aside, let's finish out this round and start a hole 17 here. Slight wind, straight up. Lots of trees, this nice dog leg. Kind of looks like a dog's face. I got the green up there for the nose, a nice sand trap looking eye if you kind of squint. Maybe you'll see what I see, but either way, a straight shot's going to really, really flirt with that out of bounds area, which I don't really want. But I don't want to hook it off too far towards the left and make my second shot that much harder. But like I say, if the choice is out of bounds or a harder second shot, with more distance there, I don't want to be shooting 3 from the tee box here, so we're going to play it conservative in that regard. And I shouldn't have to stop and think about this every time, but I just have to tell myself, like, okay, look at the shot. Okay, we want it to go off to our left, so okay, we hit it, to the right of the sweet spot. I've gone the other way before, and it's like, okay, I drew it up perfect in my head, but I didn't execute it right. And at the end of the day, if you can't execute it right, it doesn't matter how good the plan was, does it? Perfect. No sand, no trees. No idea what to shoot next. Got a bunker beyond it. Trees beyond the bunker. We're right in the middle of the fairway approach here, so I don't want to hook it left or right. Well, let's try it. I love that shot. A ton of break on the green here. Really don't want to overhit it. Perfect. All right, hole 18. Hard to believe we're here already. Lots of wind. So I don't think we need to worry too much about shaping our shot. The wind is going to naturally kind of push it away from the trees here. I really don't want to hit it at all where it's going to even flirt with those trees. So if the wind can counter it a bit more, I mean, I'm going to err on that side of caution. Hole 18. If you don't know I'm doing that by now, you haven't been paying attention, have you? So we want it to go that way, so we hit it this way. Things like this break, as a kid, I'm not sure my brain really made that conscious connection. It's like, okay, if I don't hit it, at the flashing mark or in the white spots, then it's a bad shot. I never really thought that you could actually use this bar down here to actually choose where your ball goes. I mean, in hindsight, that's very much common sense, but try telling a kid on a little black and white TV how NES golf works. And all right, we got a lot of wind in our face. We got a lot of trees between us and the green. That bunker, looks pretty tiny normally, but right now it looks massive. It's going to really, really complicate things if we end up in there. We kind of need to thread the needle on there, so we're going to need the ball to bend off to the right. I'm going to, again, conserve. I'm not going to hit the green on this shot anyway, so let's give myself a little bit more wiggle room with a 3-wood instead of the 1-wood. All right. Hopefully the last approach shot of the round here. If I leave it short, I'm in the sand. If I leave it over, I'm potentially out of bounds. And if I do that, I will really like that final approach for the green. If I could end this on a birdie, that would be kind of ideal. I'm overthinking it. Okay. Well, that ends us in at 83, plus 11. If I were on a real golf course and I shot an 83 after 18, I would be pretty happy about that. I mean, unless I'm playing 9 holes, but plus 11 and 83, that's nothing to write home about per se, but for my first time back to this game in I don't know how many years, it leaves me some room to improve, but it's not, this wasn't the length of a real game of 18 holes. I wasn't at this for 3 hours. I wasn't, over 100 shots. Yeah, I mean, I will take that. So, as the game cycles through some loading screens here, I guess let's head back to the basement and start to wrap things up for the day. I was thinking about maybe doing a second round, but I think that might be enough for today. We can always return to this again in the future and see if we can improve on this plus 11, 83 score. So here we are again, back in the basement. Like I said, this was kind of that self-created world of, things and places and things twice that I said, I liked from the past, or that, stood out to me as feelings of comfort. This was kind of modeled after a couple different real rooms in my past. Some of this was actually kind of influenced by wanting to learn 3D modeling in Blender. That chair back there you can see over my head off this way here. That was one of the first things I modeled. I followed a couple tutorials. I could probably put something like that together in much shorter time now. Back in the day, that took me literal hours, multiple nights of doing tutorials, and I remember saving the file 4 or 5 different times. Like, okay, I'm at this part. I feel okay about that, but let's do a save as, just in case I screw something up and we need to go back and change it. And like, how do I do textures? How do I do anything? And I remember hitting that very first render and seeing a chair like I wanted to see, and it was just like, I made that. Wow. It's like, it was what I'd hoped the outcome would be, but to actually see it executed the way I wanted, that was just... I was beaming ear to ear for a while on that one, and it was like, okay, I did that. I did the thing. Can I do it again? Can I take those same premises and make a couch? The couch doesn't have as high a back, and it's wider than a chair, but a lot of the principles are the same. Cushions, arms, feet, all that fun stuff. I can do that, right? And I always wanted like a background that was mine. I didn't want just a can scene, and I've not really considered myself anything of an artist, so I'm not going to whip up anything creative like that. But it's like I can learn this 3D modeling thing. Blender's great software. It's open. It's free. It's very powerful. And that just kind of led one thing to another. This TV off this way, the one we just saw the gameplay on, that's modeled after a TV that my grandma and grandpa had that I remember feeling as a kid was a big TV. It was huge. I mean, it did sit on the floor just like that one. And I remember Saturday mornings, crowded right up to that, watching whatever the Saturday morning favor that I was interested in watching when we were at grandma and grandpa's. And this TV, I think it was a 31, not even standard size exactly. It was, between 30 and 32 for the dimensions. It wasn't huge, but for my kid brain that had, never seen a TV that big, it's like, they've got a giant TV. I mean, look at how big it is. And, that TV always stuck with me, and I never knew which one it was. So it was a lot of sleuthing to actually try to find that model and, then try to actually, make an approximation of it. And I think it came out pretty well. It checks a lot of boxes that I'm happy with, but everything behind me here's got a bit of a story. That's kind of why I put it there. That's the purpose of this world. It's what makes sense to me. Each of these pictures you can kind of see over my shoulder. These were all just various tests in Blender of, what can I do? Can I make a scene of a lighthouse? How would I do that? And that's what that was. I was trying to do mountains and water reflections, so I ended up putting that above the couch there. I've got a different mountain range from a different art style I tried. I've got a cabin at night over by the clock. Everything's got a story here, and I kind of want that vibe to continue, and I'm going to kind of keep expanding the room too. This is the kind of place that's going to grow and evolve and change as this whole experiment, this VTubing career goes on. This is just a baseline. This isn't a static world. It's going to change. It's going to grow. It's going to hopefully be that thing we can look back on in the future and it's like, oh, this is where things started, and here's where things are now, and I wonder where they're going to go in the future. But yeah, it's been a fun casual chat here. It's been kind of nice to just try to talk here and hopefully come across somewhat coherently, get some of my ideas out there, not sound like there are as many awkward pauses or things like that. I hope I'm doing better with that. I know I've still got a lot of room to grow, but if I keep that mindset with every day, then hopefully every stream after the one I'm doing will be better than the one that came before it, and eventually it'll just be second nature, and then there'll be new things to learn. I mean, that's kind of the fun part of it too, right? It's like, I'm never going to intentionally get complacent on this. It's like, if I can do good today, can I do better tomorrow? Can I do even better than that the day after? I don't want to just be chasing, better and never enjoy where I am. I'm amazed I'm this far. This has been a plan for a long time of something I'd like to do this. I'm going to do this eventually. Once I have time, once I get this and this done, then maybe I'll do it. But to actually see it starting to come together here, it's just like it's actually real now. It's not just that thing in my head that might happen one of these days when I get around to it. It's actually happening. So I'm excited. But thank you so much for being here today. Hopefully it was kind of fun seeing an old game of golf and see me hack my way through it and try to save par, not go too far above bogey. It was fun revisiting an old game that, I loved as a kid. I'm sure kid me would have just mop the floor with me if we were playing 2-player stroke play, but I ended up with a respectable plus 11. I'll take that for a first outing back after a long time. And I guess, like I was just saying for the channel, that plus 11 could be a plus 10 next time we play, for all I know. But I have been Tom Shima. Please feel free to come back again. I'm going to keep playing some different games. For the Persona A Day fans, I'm going to let you know as we get closer to when the next day of Persona 3 Reload is going to be. I've kind of intentionally left it vague because I want this to be as spoiler-free as possible, so I can't say it's like, oh, okay, we're playing, next time we play it's going to be this day of the week, so, I do want you to be able to know when it happens, but I don't want you to just instantly say, okay, I don't need to care for, the next, however many days. I want you to be thinking about it in the back of your head a little bit. It's like, okay, what last happened? How long are we recovering? Where is this going to go? I want it to kind of just to percolate up there. That's why we're doing this as a daily playthrough. So as we get closer to that, I will let you know. I've got plans to not just keep saying it. I'm going to look into the social media side of things. Discord. I have admittedly never used Discord for anything. I know it exists. Obviously, it's one of the biggest communication channels out there. But I've never used it, so I'm kind of learning as I go here. But I want to get that set up and accessible to people and give everybody another avenue to interact with me, and as far as I can. And the more chances people have to be part of the community, the better chance I have of having a community. And I think that's an attainable goal. So I want that to just be sooner than later. I want that to be out there and live so that we can keep growing and feeling more like an actual channel and not just somebody who's kind of nervously making it up as they go. But I don't want to keep going back and forth here and trying to give that like Midwest goodbye of one more thing, one more thing, one more thing. So I thank you for being here. I hope you can continue to be with me and support me on this, and I look forward to seeing you the next time we're live. Thank you so much, and have a great one.